everyone, Karen here, and today I have something a little bit different. I'm going to be making a wall hanging for my granddaughter to hang up in the playroom. I'm going to be using the little monster, and I'm going to be using the Vintage Carnival letters to spell out her name in the bottom and put in a little monster that's going to have on a little tutu. I'm trying to make it look like it's dancing. We'll see how successful I am. But I'm not using paper. I am going to use iron-on vinyl. Now, many of you may not know this, but you absolutely can use your dies to cut out vinyl. Now, I will show you how you do this. Now, this works the same with regular vinyl, repositional vinyl, iron-on vinyl. I'm even going to cut out some sparkle. This is the glitter vinyl, and that cut just fine. It all works, but let me show you how to do it, and I'm going to make this little square thing to hang up in the playroom. Alright, so let's get everything cut first so you can see, and you will believe me that it is this easy. So, to spell out her name, I need one more letter. So I have a piece of the glitter iron-on. Now, this is the side that has the backing on it. This is the side that's going to touch the panel. So I'm going to put it on the side that has the plastic backing on it. And the reason why I'm doing that is I don't want the letters to be backwards, because I want the letter to cut like this. So I'm going to lay it down like here. I'm going to put painter's tape over the top of it. Because these are in rolls and they don't lay flat, it is trying to curl up on me. So that's why I'm using painter's tape, and it comes right off because that's very slick. So the T is all set for her for her name. Here I have the bow, and I have the center of the bow, and I'm putting that on regular iron-on vinyl. So that's just going to go right on here, like that. I have her ponytails, which are going to be on here. And you can see I did try to cut it out with the MIDI. The MIDI just couldn't quite cut through the plastic. So I think if you were using something without the plastic backing on it, it would work. But it's not going to work with the plastic backing. I'll have to try it. I'll have to go grab a piece of regular vinyl and see if the MIDI will cut it when I'm done. Here is the skirt. And then here is the monster. Now this is some flocked iron-on. Normally it would have backing on it, but the backing came off for some reason. So I am going to just go ahead and tape this down straight onto the flocked iron-on. I'm going to cut this little piece out. No reason to put the whole thing through my machine. Move this over here. I'm going to grab my metal shim, put everything on top. So we have the T, the monster, we have the bow, we have the hair, we have her little skirt, and let's run this through the machine. Alright, so this was one pass through my Gemini, and you can see that the monster is cut. She's now all set. We have her arms. Here is one arm. And the other arm is still sitting in the die. We'll just take out. Let me put these back before they get lost. And it cut just like that. It cuts just like paper. Now here's the letter. Now this is pretty thick. The glitter is pretty thick, but the T came out just fine. Now see, when I put it on the panel, it will go on like this, and then I will just peel the backing right off. So there's all the letters for her name. And we'll put this back. And we'll put the rest of the alien back. Let's see, her skirt. I think I want to cut a second skirt. I'm trying to decide if I want to cut it out of the same color or a different color. There's her hair. Put that over here. Here's her bow to match her skirt. And there is the little piece. Try really hard to keep track of for the top of her bow. There we go. Put that back before that gets lost. All right, there's her bow. Now for the second skirt, let me think. Do I want to put 2 rows of green, or do I want to do a different color? I'm kind of leaning toward the purple. All right, let me grab a little bit more purple. All right, so I have a more purple. I'm going to put it on the backing. Take a piece of tape, tape it down, and that will go through my machine. All right, one pass through the machine. That comes out. Cuts perfect. All right, so I think we have all the pieces we need. Let me double check. Oh, we need her mouth. That's what we're missing. I think I'm going to use googly eyes for her eye, so I'm not going to bother with the eyes. So I need to do her mouth, which apparently still has a piece in it from the last time I used it. All right, take that out. And see how that's curling up? So this is why I'm using the painter's tape, just to hold everything on there. These are her eyelashes. All right, I will run this through the machine. All right, let's see how it did on this very skinny mouth. And it came out perfect. Let me just get it out. All right, there's her mouth and her eyelashes, which are a little tricky. Let's see how that came out. They are very small. So let's pop those out here. I can keep it in my hand. All right, there's one. And there's 2. All right, so there's her eyelashes. All right, now I think we're all set. So let's get the background done. Then we can iron all this on. Now normally I would use a heat press, but I know not everybody has a heat press. So I will do it today with an iron, just so you can see how to do it that way. All right, now I'm going to ink this up, and I think I'm going to make ground on the bottom and sky on the top. I need to figure out how high up I need to make the ground. So if the letters are down here, and I want the alien to sit about here. Yeah, that gives plenty of room for her name down here. So I can make the ground about up here. All right, let me grab my blending brushes. All right, so let's start with the ground. Put the letters over here so they don't get lost. So I'm going to use pine tree for the ground, and I may bring in another color. So I'm going to start inking here. I'm just going to take this and just cut a curve. I'll cut it a little smoother than that. There we go. That will be better. There we go. There's our ground. That looks good. A bit more here in the corner. So now for our sky, I'm going to use Oasis and then some Ocean Blue. So let me flip this over, keep everything clean. Get rid of this green here. Alright. So I'm going to start off with the lighter color. Alright, I'm going to keep my hands off of this. I don't stick my hands in the green again. Let me see if it needs a little bit of this ocean blue. Just to put a little bit something a little different in the sky. Yeah, so that makes really nice contrast in the sky. A little bit of the darker, a little bit of the lighter. I need to get rid of this down here. There we go. I think that's probably good for the sky. Alright, I'm going to take my heat gun to this to let this dry. I definitely have got fingerprints over here. Alright, so everything's had a chance to dry. Now it is time to iron everything on. Now if you want, you can do this on an ironing board, but I have my mat here for my heat press, so I'm going to press on this. I have my iron plugged in. I have preheated it for about 5 minutes. One thing to keep in mind with your iron is that if you have an iron that has the safety shutoff on it, make sure every couple of minutes you're moving it around, because as you're laying everything out, you don't want it to shut off on you. Yes, that is the voice of experience talking. Alright, so I'm going to put down a piece of parchment paper underneath. I am going to bring in the board. And the parchment paper underneath, that's only going to serve to protect any ink that may get warm and do any weird things, to keep this underneath clean. So the first thing I'm going to do is the name. So I've gone ahead and laid out the letters the way I want it to look here on the bottom. And I am going to cover this with another piece of parchment paper on the top. And this is just regular kitchen parchment, nothing special about it. Now something you need to keep in mind when you're using vinyl is that there's different kinds of vinyl. Some of it is you take it off when it's warm. Some of it you take it off when it's cool. So when you buy your vinyl, make sure you read your instructions to see if the vinyl you bought is what they call a hot peel or a cold peel. And that is very important. If you pull it at the wrong time, let's say it's cold peel and you try to pull it when it's hot, it's not a big deal. Give it another quick little press, let it cool off. If it is a warm peel and you let it cool too much and it gets sticky, just hit it again with some heat and pull it off. Not a big deal. All is fixable. Alright, so we have our letters underneath. So I'm going to take my iron here that has been preheat, and I've been holding on to it, and I am going to press it down for 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
And I'm going to press down. This is the one advantage over if you have a heat press. You don't have to press down. It has the pressure itself. But if we're using an iron, make sure you are pressing down really good for the 30 seconds. All right, 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick this up. And we will take this up. Now, we can pick this up. It's now stuck on here. And now we can peel off the backing that's on here. There is one letter. Two letters. Three letters. 4. And the T. Now if you want to, if you look at this and you feel like not all your letters are stuck, you can always put this back on here and press this down for another few seconds.
15 seconds, starting now.
You can also do this if you feel like your iron is not hot in the same place. You can move it around. Just make sure you pick it up and put it down. You don't want to rub it back and forth like you do when you iron. Alright. So now the name is all on there. Just like that. Alright, so that was the glitter. So now let's go over to our monster, which had the flocked vinyl. So we're going to put the little hand underneath. Because with the little monster, you can put the hands in the front or the back, but I think it looks better in the back. Because you can see the difference there. Let's see if I hold it up. England, yeah. I just think it looks better if the arms are in the back. Oh, and I have the arms on the wrong side. There is a left and a right arm. So you want to make sure the thumbs are pointing down. Let's say we want that here on the ground. You can decide if you want your arms like up, down. Alright, we'll get this all straight. I think I want to move these arms down a little bit. That looks better. Alright, that looks good. We're going to cover this up, set my timer, and go another 30 seconds.
30 seconds, starting now.
And we're going to repeat and press down. Now remember, the backing fell off of this, so we're not going to have any backing to peel off of the pink. And that's just something that can happen with the flocking because it is thicker and it is really heavy, so sometimes the backing falls off. And we'll pull this off, and our little monster is stuck. Alright, so next we have to put all the little details in our monster. So these we have to do one layer at a time. So the hair will be on that side and this side. So we will have to do that first because there's backing you have to pull off. So we have to do it one at a time. Now the skirt, I can do one skirt at a time. So the skirt needs to layer like this. So the first layer we have to put on is this underneath layer. So that is going to come, let's see, probably about here. Maybe a little lower. About here, I think. Alright, now we also have the mouth and we have the bow. We can do the mouth. Make sure I have that the right way. The mouth will go on here. And we have the two eyelashes. Now I want to make sure we put these in the right place. And make sure you're putting your backing, which will be very shiny, on the top. And then I'm going to put googly eyes underneath this. So I just need her eyelashes to be up there. Alright, make sure I've got this skirt in the right place. I think I need to bring that down a little bit. Have room for the second layer. Have her skirt. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Bring that way down. That in the center. I can bring her mouth down a little bit. Alright, I think that looks good. Alright, I'm going to cover this up carefully. and set my 30-second timer. All right, so now we have to peel everything off here. Whoop, that was not ready. So we're going to lay that back down. Let me check the top here. Oh, that is hot. Okay, that is fine. Never had green rip like that before. And that. Yeah, I'm going to press that green down just a little bit more. Alright. Now let's check this again. There we go. I think it's because this is the flocking is so thick. But let's peel this off. There's that. And the eyelashes. Alright. Now I think this did this here because the flocking is thicker than the other vinyl, and I think that's where that got caught up a little bit. But that's fine because we're going to cover that with the other layer of the little skirt here. So this will go on top. I'm going to let that cool off a second. That's still a little warm. Alright, this will go on top like that. And we'll put her bows in place. This is still a little warm. Alright. This canvas is definitely holding the heat. Alright, so we will put this down and go another 30 seconds. Alright. Now let's check the bows here. Alright, here's one. This is getting very warm. Alright, there's two. Alright, so all that is left now, nope, pull this off. Let's see if that one's okay. That's fine. We just have these two little dots for the centers of her bow. Just need to make sure we don't put them on upside down. There's one. And here's two. And let me iron those on real quick. I'll only do those for a few seconds. Computer, stop. Alright, now we just need to pull the plastic off. Alright, I have to let this cool for a second. This has gotten really hot. So now everything's had a chance to cool off. So I have some googly eyes and I have some ribbon. So while my glue gun heats up, I'm going to go ahead and glue on these googly eyes. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, a little bit here. I'm going to turn this sideways so I can see where her eyelashes are. And I am going to put that right there. Yep, I'm gonna put a little bit more on here. That will go right there. And the other googly eye will come over here. There we go. Yep, that looks good. So we'll let that dry for a second, and then when this is heated up, we will put this on the back. Alright, so now the glue gun is hot, so let me flip this over. I have a ribbon, and you can make this whatever length you want. I'm probably not going to use the whole length of this ribbon. So I'm going to glue one piece over here. I'm going to grab my tweezers so I don't burn myself here. A little dab there. A little dab over here. About the same distance. I'm going to push this into the glue. I'm going to bring this up here. Let it lay down like this. And push that into the glue. And I will snip off the end. Like that. And we are done. Alright, so there we go. Our little nameplate with a little googly-eyed monster on it. So if you like this project, give me a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, stay crafty.